Hey, everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
You're watching the Patreon bonus stories. We've showed you this chart before, and now it keeps coming up. Elon says, remember this chart. All right, so what is this chart? Let's remind ourselves. The red is China. The blue is the United States. We're looking at electricity generation since 1999 through 2024. Pretty flat for the U.S. Really hasn't gone up that much. The only stuff that has gone up is largely because of solar and wind. China, on the other hand, was way behind us in the turn of the century. And now, where are they? They're 3 times higher than we are. Now, I'm not going to get into a whole political thing about like how, China probably used awful means to get there. But basically, they saw the problem way before America did, before most people did, that energy is the key. I don't know if they got the whole AI part of it, but they understood that energy is important. So they just started building. I know most of their country's coal still. I'm not advocating that. But we can build our way out of this really simply with solar and wind. Sure, probably need some nuclear. Sure, we probably need to keep our existing infrastructure of fossil fuel based. But primarily we can build out of it sustainably. And unfortunately, politicians don't get it. I mean, this new big, beautiful bill is just going backwards. It's just like, let's give more subsidies to oil and fossil fuels. I mean, why? It is amazing to me that if we could just switch this one little switch in most people's brains, that these solar panels are freedom panels, or that wind generators are freedom generators, everyone would get it here. We would all be like, oh, great, let's have them all over the place. Instead, they come up with this asinine arguments against them that aren't true. Oh, they're full of weird chemicals and they break. And, what about hail? Like, I've heard the same arguments over and over again. And it's like, it's just because you won't throw that switch. So,
but also the what about hail argument. Then don't buy a car.
Right.
Then don't buy a house.
I know.
Go
Don't
live
buy
underground in a
anything made of
bunker.
glass.
I mean,
Right.
there could be meteorites hitting stuff. We've got to be careful, folks. I mean, it's so asinine and stupid, but people like having one argument and then they can just go, well, I thought of that.
they bring it up over and over. If you read through the threads of anyone talking about solar, there will be some trolls in there who will say the hail argument. They'll say there's cadmium. There hasn't been cadmium in these in years. That they break. I mean, again, we're talking about a panel. This panel right here, okay, was on a solar farm, probably in the Southwest somewhere, for about 10 years. Then we got it.
Still works.
I thought it was they had up and that it was, oh my God, they shipped us a new panel.
Yep.
It's not new. This, I'm sure I could put on my roof right now for the next 30, 40 years. Yep. And even hail, I got to tell you, we've had hailstorms. I got panels up there for 12 years. None of them were broken. We've done all sorts of stupid stuff like have tree branches fall or whatever. None of them broken. So I'm not saying you can't break them, but like these are pretty much indestructible and they just keep doing their job. No moving parts. They don't make noise. Like, oh my God, if you listed all the positives, you just go, oh my, is this amazing? Right. Is this magical? Is this on a Harry Potter novel?
But look at this chart for a minute. Imagine instead of the chart being electricity generation, imagine it was money. Okay? If you want to do something, it's a lot easier if you have lots and lots of money. And so if you were looking at this chart and it was money, you'd go, well, oh, obviously we should try and make more money. We should be trying to generate as much money as possible. It's the exact same thing with electricity. If you want to do anything, at a certain point, money doesn't really matter if you don't have the energy to do anything. You can, because everything's going to be so expensive that you're barely going to be more than a peasant. And that's what it used to be. Imagine this graph, trace the graph back 100, 200, 300 years. The line is going to be, you're not going to be able to see it. It's going to be at the bottom because that's what we would have generated in terms of electricity, just in energy in general. It was nothing. And that's why we have everything that we have today is because we're actually creating energy.
What's so stupid here, is so amazing to my brain, is that people did get it for centuries. People who built the Industrial Revolution knew they needed energy for their mills, so they built them along waterways and so forth. People who went and drilled for oil, they got it. Like, everyone gets
even
it.
Kings. The kings would say, well, how do I have a bigger army? Well, I need land to grow the food to keep my people alive.
Is solar power.
To then, have enough extra food so that people can go mine and get iron and then make spears and then we can go kill everybody else and get more land.
Anyway, remember this chart. It is important. If we don't change this chart, we're kind of doomed. All right, let's go to Doge. I know a lot of people think that the Department of Government Efficiency doesn't exist anymore because Elon's left, but it's still there. It's still working, and they still keep posting what they're doing. And we've got Big Balls who moved on from Doge, but he's working at the Social Security Administration doing basically the same stuff. And don't forget, Big Balls, 19-year-old Big Balls, was so smart that he was working at Neuralink as an engineer. So he's not just a doofus. He's smart. And he's decided to stay in government and keep doing this stuff. And I just wanted to, this is like as little political as you could get. This isn't about cutting any program that you could possibly disagree with. This is unused phone line update. So the SBA government has continued its phone audit and has now saved $2.8 million a year in unnecessary spend on phone lines. So this includes traditional landlines. 96% of their lines have been terminated. So 661 of 686 lines were terminated because they didn't need them. That saves $650,000 a year. You might be like, that's nothing. Yeah, okay, it's nothing. But I could use 650,000, couldn't you? Mobile phones, 55% have been deactivated, saving 1.7 million a year. VoIP licenses, 70% have been deactivated, saving 469,000 a year. I know these numbers seem small. But you add them up, they start to really matter. And that's going on as we speak. And that was all because of one guy, again, Elon. If you take away the political part, if you take away whether you disagree with one of his cuts or whatever, most of the cuts every week are these kinds of cuts. Buildings we don't need, phone lines we don't need, things that were just wasteful that if you went into any business and you saw this, any CEO would be like, cut that immediately. We need to cut back and save. Instead, it got political quickly. Elon's a Nazi. He's evil. Anything he touches is bad, yada, yada, yada. But it's not true. And we, for the first time in my lifetime, have actually been cutting back on what our tax dollars go to, which makes us more efficient, which means that we can actually get back to being a more prosperous nation. That's good. And in any other world, in any other timeline, this would have been hailed as, oh my God, another amazing thing that Elon did along with Neuralink and along with this and that. But instead, it's just another bad thing that he did, like some kind of bad movie. And I'm just so sick of it. If we don't push back against it, who will? You here watching, you know the truth. If you don't push back, then the reality for most people remains that Elon did something bad. No, he didn't. So whenever they do push back and go, I heard he cut bad things, pull out a story like this and be like, well, do you think phone lines that don't get used are bad? Would you like to have another 12 in your house that you don't use and that you pay for? No. And I think if you don't do that and we don't do that, then everyone gets to rewrite history and that will just be known as another bad thing Elon did, even though he didn't. All right, let's go to the story from Mario Nafal. I think if you are here as a patron at the like $1 or $5 level, you should really consider joining us on the Investor Club. It's $10 a month. I get it. You're like, whoa. I can almost promise you, you're going to make back that money and a lot more if you get into the right investing mindset. And one of the ways you get into that investing mindset is you have to change something in your brain. If you're not an investor today, and if you haven't done that well in the past, you can be. A lot of it just takes little changes. And one of the changes here I think is important is to realize that Elon thinks differently. And once you follow smart people who think differently, you start to think differently. So this is a very interesting couple-minute interview here with Peter Thiel, good friend of Elon's. They talk a lot. And Mario says the chilling moment that Elon realized that Mars alone won't save us. So Peter Thiel revealed how a haunting conversation with DeepMind's founder, so he's going to refer to Demise in this, and that's who we're talking about, gave Elon a wake-up call that transformed his Mars vision from escape route to requiring Earth-based victory over woke ideology first. Take a listen.
It's toxic for all the people who get involved in different ways. There is a political dimension of getting back to the future. You can't, I don't know, this is a conversation I had with Elon back in, 2024, and we had all these, conversations. I had the seasteading version with Elon where I said, if Trump doesn't win, I want to just leave the country. And then Elon said, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. This is the only place. And then, you always think of the right arguments to make later. And it was about 2 hours after we had dinner and I was home that I thought of, wow, Elon, you don't believe in going to Mars anymore. 2024 is the year where Elon stopped believing in Mars, not as a silly science tech project, but as a political project. Mars was supposed to be a political project. It was building an alternative. And in 2024, Elon came to believe that if you went to Mars, the socialist US government, the woke AI, it would follow you to Mars. It was the Demis meeting with Elon that we sort of brokered. He was doing DeepMind.
This is an AI company.
Yeah, this was the rough conversation was, Demis tells Elon, I'm working on the most important project in the world. I'm building a superhuman AI. And Elon responds to Demis, well, I'm working on the most important project in the world. I am turning us into interplanetary species. And then Demis said, well, my AI will be able to follow you to Mars. And then Elon sort of went quiet. But in my telling of the history, it took years for that to really hit Elon. It took him till 2024 to process it.
But that doesn't mean he doesn't believe in Mars. It just means that he decided he had to win some kind of battle over budget deficits or wokeness to get to Mars.
What does Mars mean? And again, it's...
What does Mars mean?
Well, is it just a scientific project, or is it, I don't know, is it like a Heinlein,
a vision of a new society?
Yeah, Heinlein,
populated by many
libertarian
people
paradise
descended
or something
from
like this.
Elon Musk.
Well,
right,
I don't know if it was
presumably.
concretized that specifically, but if you concretize things, then maybe you realize that Mars is supposed to be more than a science project. It's supposed to be a political project. And then when you concretize it, you have to start thinking through, well, the woke AI will follow you, the socialist government will follow you. And then maybe you have to do something other than...
Elon responded to that. So he posted this, and that's very important. When Elon posts something, it means that it's not out there. It's not like, oh, he disagrees with this. He posted it because that's how he feels. And he says, of course, moving to Mars is not yet an option, but it will be if civilization can last another 25 years or so. So I don't know if you got that. You may have to watch that another time if you want to really understand that back many, many years ago, when DeepMind was actually starting to develop AI, when he had these conversations with these very intelligent people, and this is why Elon's so important, there's not many people in the world who get to talk to anyone who's actually doing important things. I might think that it'd be cool to hang around with Brad Pitt or something, right? And think he's so important. He's not. He's an actor. He might tell me about some new vodka or something, but that's not going to change the world. Elon gets to hang out with Brad Pitt if he wants to, but he also gets to hang out with people like Demis, who's making an AI, who's doing something important. And that set in motion in Elon's head, oh, you're making an AI. You're right. That will follow me to Mars. I better make my AI. And that's when he did OpenAI, where he went, I don't want a bad AI to follow us to Mars. I want a good one. So he did very upstanding thing. I'll do an open project so that all of us can be following what's going on. That got taken away by Sam Altman, who is an evil, evil person, in my opinion. And then he lost control of it. And you might say, well, then why did he do it again? Why didn't he start another OpenAI? Well, I think he realized that wasn't going to work. There's always going to be some evil person who would take it over. So he goes, I'll have to do it myself. Mm-hmm. So he starts an AI. He wants to make it maximally truth-seeking so that if it does follow to Mars, it'll be the best AI it can be. And again, Mars was supposed to excite human beings. It was supposed to be the next step of humanity, of us going to a new place, like we went to the moon or like we went to the United States, to America. And yet we had lost that. So now we go to Mars, but he's afraid that, like we talked about in our investor club this week, of what would happen if we went there and didn't do it right. So I want you to see that Elon is trying at least to do the right thing. He's not, many people paint him as this unaware narcissist. That's because they are that, or because most billionaires are that. Like, I don't know, if you go to Venice and spend $50 million to get married, I'm not saying you're a narcissist, but that sounds a lot like it, that you could be doing so many other better ways to do it. But I wanted to show off to the world that, I've taken over a city. That's what most billionaires do. And so everyone just lumps them in. Oh, of course. Well, if you're a billionaire, that's what you do. Well, he doesn't do that. He's trying to get to Mars for a new reason, not the same one where he started SpaceX years ago. Before, he thought, I'll excite humanity and NASA will get us to Mars.
Yep.
Because I grew up thinking that's what NASA does.
And this is before he got into rockets. All he wanted to do was put a greenhouse on Mars.
And he admits that. And he admits that didn't actually pan out.
He thought that there was going to be a camera looking at a little bean sprout or something, and it would sprout on Mars, and everyone would go like, oh my God, we got to go move to Mars. That's what really smart people would think, but everyone else, of course, would just go, ho hum, blah, blah, blah.
And he, like everyone, went to NASA's website to see what they're working on. And when he was like, what? I can't find anything about Mars, he went, oh crap, they're not doing that. And that's because it's become a political thing. For instance, Jared Isaacman was going to be the new administrator. Now it said it's going to be like another 6 months before we get an administrator. So we're floundering. We have NASA who has no leader right now. Like ridiculous. We could have had a great leader. Anyway, Elon said, okay, well, then I'll do it. And he is doing it. But again, this is not the story that most people know. And I just think it's important that you guys, since you do know it, you should, I hope, at least right the wrongs. Like at least if someone says to you, like, I heard he's a billionaire and he's stupid, you should at least go, well, I don't think you know what you're talking about. How if you check this out, check that out? Because you're just, I don't know, you're embarrassing yourself by making yourself look stupid. Like history is going to get it right eventually. History is going to record all the amazing stuff he's done because all the biographers that follow him and so forth are doing a good job. And so eventually we'll all know that he was great. And all these people will have to go, oh God, I was just totally misled by the media. So I don't know, either do it or don't, but at least you know that that's why he's doing it. And thank you so much for doing what you do and supporting us. We just can't do the show without you. And I know I say that all the time, but it's absolutely true. It gets more and more true every week where YouTube pays less, sponsors pay less. We're definitely being shadow banned by YouTube. I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I can just show you the numbers. Like we have been flat in subscribers. Whereas if we were talking about any other subject, and I know this is true because we have other channels, when we talk about other things on our other channels, those channels grow. So for some reason, YouTube doesn't want us telling you this stuff. I wonder why. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Now you know.